I think we start. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session dedicated to India. My name is Christian Tirabassi from Ficom Leisure. I have here with me today Gauri Koghale, partner at Nitish Desai Associate. Hi, Gauri. I have Jaydeep, Vice President Commercial and Market Technology. Hi, Jaydeep.
Hi.
We have Debashish, co-founder and CMO of Pocket 52. Thank you very much for being here. The objective of this panel today, this digital panel organized by SBC, is really to focus on the Indian market, the Indian digital market. So a few words on us and what we do, and then I will ask everybody to introduce themselves in relation to the Indian market. So I'm a founding partner of Ficom Leisure. We are a strategic advisor and M&A boutique, only working in the gaming industry. We've been active in this sector since the 90s. We're present in London, Rome, Madrid, Miami, and we follow all the regulated market or regulating market in betting and gaming, land-based and online. Europe, Africa, North America, South America, and since more than 3 years, India. Gauri, please, an introduction. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian. This is Gauri. I am based in Mumbai, the hotspot today, unfortunately for the virus in a lockdown. I had the technology media practice at the Nitish Desai Associates, and have been focusing on the gaming sector for more than a decade. Have been working on advising foreign operators operating in India, whether offshore or onshore, as well as Indian operators, and have sort of advised several clients in collaborations as well between the foreign and Indian clients. And happy to share our recent experiences as to what is happening in the Indian context. It's a very interesting territory, and happy to share more thoughts.
Thank you very much. Jaydeep?
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Jaydeep. I've been part of the gaming industry for almost 18 years now. Started my career with Ladbrokes Shops in UK way back in 2003. Presently, I'm working for a Market Technology, which is a global casino platform provider. So we provide content and platform to various operators across the world. We power some of the best casinos in Africa, as well as we have significant presence in Southeast Asia. I'm also involved quite heavily in the Indian gaming industry by associated myself with few state governments where I've advised them on gaming-related activities. And that's in a nutshell what I've been doing for last 18 years in the industry. I'm happy to talk more.
Thank you, Jaydeep. Debashish?
I think Debashish is not there, Christian. I think
not here.
Oh, sorry, I cannot see. No, you're right. Sorry, Harshit, sorry.
Hello, everyone. Very good morning. I represent the Probability Gaming as a director for business and sales. At Probability Gaming, we have been there in the market in India, in New Delhi, from last 10 years. And our main focus is to do the game development for various land-based casinos, online casinos, social casinos too. We specialize in game development, especially in the casino games like slots, skill-based table games or table games, and we are also doing our projects on the VR and MR-based games. We have been here and doing a white label solutions for various companies, and soon we are making a bridge between India and world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So basically, what we'd like to achieve here is to give, an understanding of, where the market is today, what kind of product are today active, and, how the market is being approached, and basically try to understand what might be the steps where the market might develop from business point of view, and as well clearly a regulation point of view. I will start to just set the scene to give some numbers to understand the size of the market. I don't know if you can see my screen, but basically the size of the market today is, clearly the number of gamers in India is extremely high. So in terms of million today, the official number, and basically there are two key studies on the Indian market, which are one from KPMG and another one recent from Maple Capital Advisor, regarding the number of gamers. So, it's go from 120 million growing, with a forecast of over 300 million in 2021. In terms of size, the size today is for the visible part of the market is been growing from about 300 million to over 800 million in 2019. And we believe that the growth is accelerating also due to the lockdown and the pandemic. So there are some forecasts of KPMG and Maple Capital Advisor giving over 3 billion growing the Indian gaming market in 2024. So clearly, we talk about a population of over 1.3, 1.4 billion, and probably the addressable market, what I've seen from a number of studies, definitely over 300, 350 million in terms of addressable market for the Indian gaming. Now, the Indian basically the market is divided in a number of operator, legal operator. Gauri going to help us to understand under which legal framework they work today, but basically covering three key areas. So one is the daily fantasy sport, clearly related to sport, which got stopped during the lockdown and now timidly recuperating. Gin Rummy, card game, traditional card game, and poker, which is a hype, modern, young game and multiplayer in different versions. So the market has developed based on a regulatory framework, and a number of operator has developed this B2C operation to basically recruit, maintain online player, and offer them either only specialize themselves only in one or two product, or trying to leverage the customer base and offering more than one segment at a time. So this is what is called, today the legal market. Clearly, we understand that there is a large unregulated market, like in any other jurisdiction we have seen, where there is not a regulation for online sports betting or online casino or online poker. So there are a number of websites that are outside the country and targeting players with a dedicated proposition. So with a dedicated offering for Indian player to engage in sports betting, casino games, or poker, which have integrated local payment solution and been extremely targeted for the market. Difficult to understand how big is the size of the market. We've seen a number of guessing, but we believe we are definitely over $5 or $6 billion in terms of GGR. So this seems to be a reasonable valuation. So these are the two way, let's say, Indian players are being engaged in India. Clearly, everything is in relation to obviously what's going to happen from a regulator point of view. So if the legal operator will be able at a certain point to apply to any sort of license and increase their product offering with whatever the product that the authority decide to to regulate. So, but the operation, the customer engagement, the marketing, the payment, and so on, that these operators are using in daily fantasy sport and RAM and poker can be clearly leveraged to offer additional product in the Indian market with all the benefit of regulation. So, player protection, revenues for the state, and so on. So this is a little bit the situation. So what I would like to ask, and I would like to start with you, Gori, so and the other speaker, to basically give your point of view on how the market has developed, let's say, in the last few years. So how we got where we are today and where we are today, and then we'll do another round where we'll discuss about what we believe is going to happen in the future. So Gori, I will ask you first. So can you give us a kind of an overview of what is the situation now and how we got to where we are?
Perfect. Thanks for very, sort of quick background, Christian, on where we are today in terms of the products available. So what I'll do is I'll divide this very quickly into two separate segments. One is the offshore operating in India, offshore operators operating in India without a local presence, and then operators from within India. I will take the latter part first quickly. So as Christian rightly pointed out, that in India currently, we are operating in what we call as unlicensed regime. And the reason I use this word is because under Indian law, because under Constitution, gaming is a state subject. Gambling and betting is a state subject. Each state has its own regulation, like we have seen also in the US. And each state has a right to decide how they want to provide the ecosystem for this kind of businesses. Most of the state laws say that games of skill are not being viewed as a prohibited activity in the context of gambling activity. And therefore, most of the businesses that Christian pointed out, whether it is rummy, whether it is fantasy or poker, are currently operating in a regime which is what we call as more of an exclusion regime, because they will not be considered as a games of chance and therefore not prohibited. Of course, there are few developments that keep happening at a state-to-state level. For example, recently we saw Andhra Pradesh state taking a decision that they may want to ban even skill gaming skill gaming to be conducted by the residents of Andhra Pradesh. We had a similar situation in the past where Telangana state also said that we will not permit even a skill gaming activity in the state. Whether such regulation is constitutional or not is being still debated in the courts. But keeping that issue aside, the takeaway is that even though you may be a skill gaming operator, you may face situations in India at a state level that there may be bans that may be imposed, and then one has to deal with that on a case-to-case basis. Quick one update is that recently horse racing, which also the Supreme Court of India has considered to be a game of skill, two turf clubs have opened because of probably the pandemic situation. They have opened up even the online gaming for the purpose of horse racing, which the horse racing will be conducted at their own turf clubs, but they will be willing to accept bets through an online medium. That's a very, very recent development, and we will need to see whether that activity picks up in the Indian context. Now, where do we stand in terms of regulations for the onshore operators? 2-3 developments is one is because of these, state-wise nuances that I explained. At least our firm, and there are others also out there, have been requesting, for the central regulation, which I will deal with in the next discussion point. But today, there are only 2 states that are giving you proper online licenses. One is Nagaland and one is Sikkim. Sikkim is essentially also includes chance-based games, but within Sikkim also you can operate only on an intranet basis only within the state. That is the way the Sikkim license operates. Insofar as Nagaland license is concerned, that is for the skill gaming. Though Nagaland license is recognized only within that state, the benefit that is seen in the market is if you are viewed as a licensed operator, that may actually have more consumer comfort. As also for the digital marketing, some of the digital platforms may derive better comfort if you are a licensed operator. However, that license is not necessarily recognized in the other states. For example, even if you were a licensed operator in Nagaland, a Telangana state government can still put a ban for the residents of Telangana to play on such a Nagaland licensed operator. So these are the things under which we are operating. Quickly, insofar as sports gaming is concerned, as I said, only within Sikkim that is currently possible, and wherever there are local casino licenses exist for brick and mortar casinos like Goa, etc. Those are very, very limited pockets in which you can see that activity. However, sports betting is currently visualized as a chance-based game, unfortunately. However, there is a petition pending before the Supreme Court of India to say that if gaming on horse racing can be viewed as a game of skill, why not sports betting? So that is a discussion point. And also there have been, also there have been discussions on whether it should be legalized. And there are certain, in certain states of India. But as of today, as a blanket, the sort of takeaway is that sports betting is typically not visualized as a skill activity. Interestingly, fantasy gaming is viewed as skill activity. However, even there are certain nuances within that not all formats of poker or not all formats of fantasy could be viewed as skill activity, and you have to see on a case-to-case basis. So, insofar as for the audience here, just a quick takeaway also is that typically when you talk about foreign direct investment into the skill gaming, that is typically as an accepted position to say that if you are investing in an entity that is conducting skill gaming, then you have I would, if you are looking at such investments, you check with the bankers in India who are going to do this transaction and derive comfort that that is something they are comfortable with. For example, some of the bankers' compliance team may not necessarily accept poker, for an investment, direct investment, direct investment because of certain nuances in certain states, right? So on a case-to-case basis, you need to examine this particular issue. Coming to the pending cases today, vis-a-vis the fantasy, there is a Supreme Court case pending on especially the goods and services tax issue. I will not deliberate too much on that, but there are certain issues that are being debated today. Number one is the goods and services tax. What is the component on which the tax should be applicable, and what should be the percentage of that? So whoever is looking at India should definitely look at this issue because it has a commercial impact. And the second issue sometimes that comes up is the player taxation. How do you, do the player taxation? That is the other issue also. One has to see from a model to model perspective. So Christian, if you permit, I will spend like couple of more minutes on for the offshore operators because there are several developments that have happened vis-a-vis the offshore operators. So now let us examine vis-a-vis the offshore operators what we have seen in the Indian context. Typically, offshore operators are not really offering whatever we have seen in the market, not necessarily offering skill games to the Indian consumers, right? They're typically offering casino products, sports betting products, etc. Going back to the point I mentioned that currently the state laws are the laws that govern the gambling activity in India. And those state laws, it's a technical legal point, but those states laws do not have extraterritorial application, meaning thereby a foreign operator may not be held liable under the Indian state law because that will mean that the state is trying to control an activity outside the country. And that is not something that is permissible. So today, most of the foreign operators derive comfort that the Indian state laws will not have that long arm statute kind of a provision, which they are able to sort of, create or have an enforcement action vis-a-vis the foreign operators. The second issue that arises is as follows, that the Indian players are not allowed to remit funds offshore. This is another law which we called as foreign exchange related law. Indian players are not allowed to remit funds outside India for the gambling activity. Now, under this law, the liability is on the Indian resident and not on the foreign recipient, being the offshore operator. So sometimes offshore operators also derive the comfort that so long as the liability is on the Indian consumers, it is for them to comply with the law. And if they believe they are in compliance with the law, we may go ahead and accept the payment. So I'm just giving, risk appetite may depend from an operator to operator, but this is the way currently, things are operating. Two regulatory developments there, or rather three regulatory developments. There was a public interest litigation, which is in the nature of class action litigation filed recently in the Delhi High Court, where some of the petitioners brought to the notice of the courts and the regulators that these, Indian consumers are remitting funds outside India, and some steps should be undertaken to control such remittances. In the recent past, in state of Andhra Pradesh, we have seen a, rather in Hyderabad actually, we have, which is Telangana, state of Telangana, we have seen a crackdown of, massive Chinese operation where, monies were being sent in large numbers from India for sports betting and casino purpose outside India. There are investigations underway vis-a-vis that particular entire setup. And the last point I will make is insofar as the goods and services tax is concerned, the Indian tax authorities have begun to send notices to the offshore operators because they are saying that you are conducting your business in India by rendering the gambling services, and therefore you are liable to pay the goods and services tax in India. So those kind of notices have begun to be sent, and we need to see how the things develop. In the Indian context, currently, though there is no regulation, people or the companies are operating in a self-regulatory mode for this for the skill gaming. There are 3 bodies who are operating in a self-regulatory model, so that the point that you mentioned, Christian, about the player protection, etc., currently is being handled through the self-regulation and not necessarily through the legal provisions. I thought I'll even clarify that position, and I'll stop here and maybe take further developments as we go along.
Thank you, Gauri. This is very comprehensive. Just one comment. We are an M&A boutique specialized in the sector, so there is a lot of international company interested in the market. So it seems that at this point they feel comfortable with the current framework. Maybe in some cases some question mark regarding poker, but we're a strong believer that for an international brand to acquire an existing or invest in existing operation will give them the right entry point into the market, as well as potentially capitalize in the moment if and when regulation will develop in India. We'll discuss about that. Jaideep, I would like to really have your view regarding how we got to where we are today with the gaming market, and your insight and your experience in the Indian market.
Sure, thanks, Christian. So I think Gauri touched on a lot of points which are related to legal and regulation, and I think beyond my level of experience in legal matters. So I think it's good to know a lot of detailing from her. I come from a very pure gaming experience and gaming background. Now, like I said, I've been involved in the industry for 18 years, primarily worked with companies like Ladbrokes, which are deriving sports, which are basically offering sports betting, online casino, those kind of products. Now, in 2010, I did launch an online rummy product for a company I was working that time, and it soon became one of the top 4 or 5 rummy companies in India. Still today, it is one of the top 10 rummy companies in India. But having said that, what I would basically say, like coming to the context that you mentioned, that where we are right now. Now, what we have seen is in last few years, there are a couple of things that have changed in India, which are more related to consumer behavior and Indian ecosystem. I'm not talking of legal areas right now. I'm talking of overall Indian digital ecosystem. So I don't know if you're aware, a few years ago, the present government, they basically did a demonetization exercise where they took out 86% of all currency notes in India in circulation. Now, you may ask, how does that impact us? Now, the reason it impacts us is because it it increases in multiple folds the use of digital currency. So people earlier who were not aware of cards, or they were not comfortable using credit cards or debit cards or mobile wallets on internet, suddenly became very used to it because that was the only option they were left with. Similarly, few years ago, we had one of the biggest businessmen in India and one of the richest Indian in the world. He launched a telecom company just because his son became 21 and his son wanted a business for himself. He launched a telecom company. It's called Jio, and it became the biggest telecom company in India right now, offering the cheapest broadband facility right now in India. Cheapest. India, if you go by the price list, India broadband prices are one of the cheapest in the world, and at a good speed, at a good experience. Similarly, with the influx of a lot of medium priced or low to medium priced Android handsets from primarily manufactured by Chinese brands, the Indian market saw a huge digital growth in last 4 or 5 years. Now, obviously, the primary content that is consumed in phones is still videos, it's still games, which are casual games, mobile games. But the online gaming, be it the RNG games that Gauri is talking about, the skill games, or the offshore games, they basically kind of push themselves into the market and basically entered in the smartphones because of this easy availability of these products, basically. Now coming to the now also another very important factor. Just you mentioned a couple of statistics in the beginning. We have around 380 to 400 million English-speaking people in India. We have around 750 million plus smartphone users in India, which is, again, this numbers keeps on growing. So India became a very attractive market for a lot of offshore gaming companies because they are facing an increasing regulation in European markets and increasing tax burden in European markets. So they see this as a very easy market where with the very limited changes they can basically grow in this market. But that's very far from true. Means even the brands which are operating in India from an offshore model, as Gauri mentioned, they are operating, they have done a lot of work to be accepted or to be working in this market. Means it's not just you just add an Indian flag in a website and you just make it live and you'll start seeing like hundreds of players coming to you. It's not that easy also. But having said that, that is how the market has been moving so far. Now, obviously, as an industry and as part of this industry, I think it's always good to say that there is no other better solution than regulation. Regulation is the best solution available, obviously with a good combination of tax and regulatory framework. But regulation is the best solution. No form of self-regulation or no form of any other regulation does work, because at the end of the day, it is all profit-making companies. They want to see their profit before anything else. So I think regulation does play a very big role, and as an industry, we should be looking towards or working towards getting to that. So I will touch upon a few more points on this in my next, like what happens next, but I will let you continue.
Thank you, Jaideep. Thank you. This extremely useful in order to understand the market. Arshit, probability clearly is, very looking close at the market. Can you give us your point of view regarding the market, so, as it is today? You mute. Arshit, you're mute.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks, Christian. As a probability and being in the market and being grown in a market where digitalization was something I have personally been through. So that is my era is of digitalization. And what I can see in the market, that we speak about such a big numbers of the market, which is very, very true of the market. But again, if we talk about the consumer point of view, India is a very, very interesting market. The thing is that India, we were never aware, or we were never in a habit of playing lots of RNG games, especially slots. are considered in a way. So India, people have a consumer behavior where they're more likely to play games which are more having a slight skill in it. So I don't know if you know about Teen Patti or Rummy or poker being better hits in the market as compared to just playing on a slot game, which is tap tap. So what I could say is like roulette and these things, and because the market, the pockets are very small, the legal pockets are very small. We just lie in 2 states in India, and 2 of our neighboring countries, which is Nepal and Sri Lanka, also is one of the biggest markets which cater to the Indian citizens. So the market itself, the players are there in the market, but because of the legalities, because of these issues, the market itself is not very much, growing in a very legal aspect. In fact, to be really frank, Indian market, which we are talking about the numbers around, which we predict around 1.5 billion dollar by 2025, that figure is very, very small as compared to what we talk about the sports betting market, which is more than 50 times which is compared to these kind of games or the skill games market. But again, because of the legalities and all these issues, there is again a big problem where players are not able to bet very legally in the market. So which is again, it seems that India itself has a huge potential with the market, with the consumer, with everything. But again, the sometimes of legalities and things which are slightly improving day by day. So I am hoping that the players are easily able to bet, and they can trust the players, they can trust the websites, they can trust the operators. Again, supporting by the government when things are legal, it is much more easier for players to really trust the operators and then can easily bet over them. So this is something I would like to say about the consumer behavior.
Thank you. So basically now thinking about the future. So what we see from our point of view is a number of international companies would like to enter the market. Clearly, they evaluating if entering now, focusing on DFS, Rummy, and poker, or basically and use that if you want joint venture acquisition in order to be ready for the moment when and if sports betting and other product will be introduced, or just wait and enter at the moment that there is a clear visibility on what will be the framework. In few minutes, Gauri, what is your view based on your experience of what's going to happen? Gauri, you're on mute. No? Jaideep, while Gauri fix this, can I ask you your point of view regarding, how the Indian market will develop in the near future?
Sure. I think, so what I would add is that is like what Gauri said, and what I also believe is that there are 2 ways of handling this. So one is the regulation, and the way I see India will follow a very similar model as US, where each and every state will decide for its own how that state would want to handle this particular point. Now, one thing that I would add, this global pandemic that is on us, that has made a lot of states realize that they are in very good need of good taxable options. Now, the tax income in India has reduced. It has become a big contention between the central government and the local state governments. So local state governments need to find ways where they can raise more tax, and gaming and gambling could become one of those activities where we can see some states, again, definitely not all states. India is still a country where alcohol is still prohibited in many states. So I don't think it will be a countrywide acceptance where gambling will be accepted, but there may be more bigger states which will open up, where we will see regulation taking place. But one thing I would like to add, and this is something that's very close to my heart, and this is something that I have been saying in past also, Now, one thing that has happened, Christian, is because of internet and because of no regulation, there is a lot of flyby operators in India right now who are basically thinks it's the wild, wild west right now. Means I have come across Eastern Europe based operator who is using the picture of one of the famous Bollywood movie actor without his permission in marketing ads. I have come across ads from very, very reputed and well-known, I'm not naming those brands on this call, but on the very well-known companies based out of Malta, based out of UK with UKGC license, with Malta license, getting into absolutely morally questionable marketing techniques. Means the whole, if you follow UKGC guidelines, which we've been following over the last 18 years, the messaging, the end context, everything is important when you are doing a gambling related advertisement. Means the entire messaging needs to be very clear. You cannot scam. Now, see, globally we know gaming, sports betting, these are part of entertainment industry. We know this. We've been working in this industry for so long. In fact, Gauri mentioned she heads the entertainment part in the law firm. So this is a part of entertainment industry. Now, what's happening is if you have rogue operators or genuine operators getting involved in absolutely questionable marketing techniques, then you're not relating gaming with entertainment anymore. You are relating gaming with scams, and that is something we need to be extremely cautious about. And if this continues going on, then I do see there is a big challenge towards the road towards a regulated environment, because the people who will decide on these activities, they need to consider gaming as fun, entertainment, and tax generating activities, and not something which is a scam. So it's a very important point in the industry we need to be aware of.
For sure, and this is one of the push of the regulator should have. Gauri, 1.5 minutes. Can you hear me?
Gauri, your mic is not working, I think.
I think, Gauri, take out your mic, and I think you can speak better then. I think just take out your mic. I think maybe there could be a problem in the mic. Take it out from the laptop, and then I think you can better.
Arshid, meanwhile, 1 minute regarding the future you see in the market.
Sorry, Krishna, I cannot hear you.
1 minute regarding how you see development in the market in the future.
Christian, as Jaideep mentioned, that there could be state laws, and especially this pandemic has been a special way where people, the government, especially with the new, because the governments are losing lots on taxes. So if things become legal, there could be a huge income of taxes which could be earned by the governments, especially the state governments. So again, coming on the Jaideep's point, that the government, the legal act, if the gambling activities become legal in the state-wise, and there are some kind of an by FICCI, they had been put up on the courts that there's a huge revenue losses, because anyways the gamblings are happening. So it could be legally or illegally. The government is losing on taxes. So if they become and make it legal, it becomes again a big revenue for them. Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the thing is, if as soon as they become legal, it is again becoming an income for the state, and there could be a huge income because the market is really big, especially in the sports. Again, the sports betting market. Now it's all on the governments and especially the states. I see in India that. Because India is not a very easy country, because of lots of different states and cultures and everything. But again, I've seen that states sometimes follow each other's model, and they see that if one states and take an initiative to make it legal, I'm thinking the fact that there could be that other states might be copying the same idea and trying to make it legalized in their own states.
Gauri, are you able to make a comment?
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. So I completely agree what has been said before. One quick point on the I will divide this into physical brick and mortar and online. For brick and mortar, I think states can continue to do on a state to state level what they intend to do. But for an online industry to flourish in India, my humble submission would be that it has to be done at the central level. All states have to come together at the central level and have a comprehensive central law rather than state by state law. That is the only way the industry will flourish in India. And the second thing I want to say is that skill for the skill gaming also we need the central law, and for sports betting as and when the governments take a decision, I think there also I believe it will have to be a central law, and I completely agree from a player protection perspective that is the best way to go forward.
Thank you very much, Gori. JD Parshik, I think it was extremely useful. We concentrate a lot of knowledge and information in 40 minutes. So I would like to thank you SBC team for this session, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.